The galaxy had forgotten Earth. It wasn't just erased from the maps, it was scrubbed from memory, relegated to a whisper in the oldest archives, a legend no one believed anymore. 500,000 years had passed since the last human ship vanished into the void, fleeing their dying home. Civilizations rose and fell in the silence left behind. The stars turned, empires were born, and alien species looked upon the Orion Arm as their own inheritance. They told each other stories of a primitive species once chained to gravity, too frail to survive. They mocked the myth that humanity had ever mattered. To the galaxy, Earth was dust, irrelevant, forgotten. Until the sky split open. It happened in the Tralis sector, deep within the heart of the Galactic Council. A patrol of merchant convoys was drifting past the border gates when reality itself tore like paper. Out of the rift poured ships, vast, angular, and gleaming with light that seemed older than the stars. They were not like any known design, not like any empire's fleet. Their hulls shimmered with shifting scripts, languages intertwining in layers of meaning. At first, the council believed them to be raiders, pirates with stolen technology. A fleet was dispatched, ships bristling with plasma cannons and gravitic warheads. The intruders did not fire a single shot. They transmitted one message, carried in a language the translators struggled to render. We are the children of Earth. We have returned. The council laughed. Earth was a ghost story. The myth of a death world that birthed savages who burned themselves to ash. These newcomers were imposters, charlatans wearing old names to sow fear. But their laughter died when the first demonstration occurred. A single human ship descended upon the barren world of Kestra 4. It was a husk, stripped clean by mining centuries ago. Before a crowd of alien witnesses, the humans deployed what they called Genesis engines. Within hours, oceans surged across its scarred crust, forests erupted from the soil, and an atmosphere returned, thick and rich. By dawn, Kestra 4 was alive again. No empire possessed such power. And that was only the beginning. When the humans spoke, their voices carried weight like ancient kings returning to reclaim a throne. They spoke not as conquerors but as heirs. This galaxy is our home, they said. You have lived in it as caretakers. But caretakers forget the true owners in time. We are here to remind you. Some worlds bent the knee willingly. Others resisted. On Voth Prime, the ruling caste declared humanity false, demanding their annihilation. In response, the humans did not fire weapons. Instead, they rewrote the very structure of the Voth's databanks. In an instant, every record, political, cultural, biological, was overwritten with the truth humanity carried. The Voth remembered, as though waking from a dream, that their ancestors had once been uplifted by human explorers in the dawn of the galaxy. The truth was undeniable. Humanity had not lied. History itself had been buried. The council panicked. For eons, they had built their authority upon the idea that they were the first, the rightful keepers of civilization. But the children of Earth brought evidence in crystalline archives, recordings older than the stars the council claimed as their own. They showed humans seeding worlds with life, guiding primitive species, walking among fledgling civilizations as guardians before vanishing into exile. Humanity had not been destroyed. They had simply left, leaving the galaxy to grow in their absence. Now they had returned. Whispers spread like wildfire, the ancients are back. The firstborn of Earth have come. But not all welcomed them. The Drakith Empire, proud and warlike, launched an armada against the human fleets. They unleashed sunspear cannons and singularity torpedoes, weapons designed to erase star systems. The humans responded by bending physics itself. Their ships phased through matter, turned weapons aside as though the laws of reality bowed to their command. The Drakith homeworld was not bombarded, nor conquered. Instead, the humans descended upon it, reshaping its atmosphere, restoring long-dead oceans, and curing genetic plagues the Drakith had carried for centuries. When the Drakith leaders knelt, it was not out of fear, it was out of awe. The galaxy trembled. Who were these beings, who returned not merely to dominate but to rewrite existence? Were they gods? Were they saviors? Or tyrants cloaked in benevolence? The truth was stranger still. For in their 500,000 years of wandering, humanity had transcended flesh and machine. They had become hybrids of matter and energy, wielders of technologies that drew upon the very fabric of time. They no longer thought in centuries but in epochs. And yet, beneath the luminous eyes and steel-wrapped forms, there was still humanity, the stubbornness, the will, the fire of a species born on a harsh little world called Earth. And Earth was not dead. That revelation shook the galaxy most of all. In secret, the humans unveiled their greatest act. A fleet opened a path to the Sol system. The worlds there were dark, abandoned, scarred by long-forgotten wars. But Earth herself still turned, blue and waiting, though her surface lay ruined and silent. Before the eyes of trillions the humans descended. Their Genesis engines roared once more. In a single night, oceans filled, skies cleared, forests bloomed across continents. The cradle of humanity breathed again. Earth was alive. And the galaxy could not deny it. The legends were true. Humanity had never died. They had risen, wandered, and returned, greater than any empire dared imagine. The council convened, desperate to hold their grip on power. But every attempt at resistance crumbled. The humans were not just rewriting planets. They were rewriting the story of the galaxy itself. Every archive, every library, every record shifted to align with the truth. All paths began with Earth. Some feared it meant enslavement. Others saw hope. For the humans did not demand tribute, nor bowing subjects. What they demanded was recognition. They sought not to erase the galaxy's peoples but to remind them of a truth lost to time, that all were connected by the first fire of Earth. And so, history turned. Empires once proud fell silent, humbled by the return of the firstborn. Civilizations reeled as they were forced to reckon with the truth. And across every world, every species, one name spread on every tongue, whispered with awe and fear alike. Humanity has returned. After 500,000 years, the forgotten children of Earth no longer sought permission. They had come to claim their place. Not as conquerors. Not as myths. But as history itself. History is written by the victors. For 500,000 years the victors had not been human. Every child born under the council's stars was taught the same lesson. Humanity was weak. Primitive. Self-destructive. They had clawed their way into space but lacked discipline, and in their arrogance they destroyed themselves. Their bones, if any remained, lay buried under the ruined crust of their poisoned homeworld. Earth was a grave. Humanity a warning. It was a convenient story, a comforting lie. Because if humanity was gone, then no one needed to fear the truth. But truth has a way of surviving. 500,000 years later, the lie collapsed in a single moment. The wormhole tore open near the Orion Arm, blooming like a wound in space. Out of it poured ships vast as mountains, their hulls sheathed in living metal that pulsed with light. They bore no flags, no council insignias. Only a symbol none had seen in ages, a blue-green sphere crossed by silver lines. The galaxy froze in silence as their transmission spread. Not threats. Not demands. Just a declaration. We are the children of Earth. We have returned to restore what was stolen. The council laughed as they always did when faced with the absurd. But the laughter broke when the humans revealed what they carried. Memory. Each vessel was a library, holding crystalline cores filled with preserved records older than any empire alive. Not stories. Not myths. Evidence. Images of ancient Earth before the fall, records of human fleets charting the stars, holographic proof of encounters with alien races in their infancy. They displayed genetic records showing how humans uplifted species who later erased them. The council declared it false. Fabricated propaganda. But the humans were not done. They descended upon the world of Clithos, a council archive planet. Its vaults contained data spanning millions of years. Before billions of witnesses, the humans released waves of reality encryption. It was not weaponry in the traditional sense but something greater, a rewriting of information at the quantum level. The falsified history of humanity, carefully maintained by the council, unraveled before their eyes. Lies peeled away like ash, revealing the original records underneath, records that matched the humans' archives exactly. The council's crime was exposed. Humanity had not destroyed themselves. They had been erased. Across the stars, whispers rose. If the council lied about humanity, what else had they buried? For the first time in 1,000 generations, the galaxy doubted. The council responded as all threatened powers do, through war. Fleets assembled, mighty battleships armed with gravitic cannons and neutron warheads. They moved to intercept the human Ark fleet. But the humans were not the frail creatures described in alien textbooks. They were no longer bound entirely by flesh. Their bodies were woven of gene-forged matter and fields of radiant energy. They were not pilots in their ships. They were their ships. Humanity and machine, memory and weapon merged into one. The first battle was not fought with missiles or plasma, but with memory. As the council's fleet advanced, human vessels pulsed with waves of information that rippled across space like invisible fire. Council ships hesitated, their systems faltering as hidden truths ignited within their cores. Crews screamed as their minds were flooded with images of humanity's true history, humans teaching their ancestors to shape fire, to harness tools, to build. Captains dropped their weapons, staring in disbelief at visions of human hands guiding their species. The Council lost entire armadas without a single human shot fired. They were not defeated by weapons, but by the unbearable weight of truth. Still, not all yielded. The Zorati, a warrior empire, refused to kneel. They launched a counterstrike, detonating black hole warheads in an attempt to annihilate the human fleet. The humans did not counterattack. They simply reached into the blast and rewrote it. The black holes collapsed into harmless light. And with a gesture, the humans unleashed the forgotten truth. The Zorati had once been saved from extinction by Terran explorers who repaired their dying sun. The Zorati had erased it from their history. Now they remembered, and in their shame they surrendered. This was not a war of territory. It was a war for memory. And the galaxy was losing. Entire civilizations were shaken. On the world of Laris, statues long thought to honor native heroes suddenly transformed before millions of eyes, reshaping into figures unmistakably human. Buried records hidden in planetary cores resurfaced, revealing that human explorers had once guided the Laritians' early steps into agriculture and language. Their entire history was rewritten overnight, not by lies but by the truth restored. Resistance became futile. Even the Council, in their deepest chambers, felt the collapse of their power. For what was power without control of history? And yet, some dared whisper the most dangerous thought of all. Were the humans rewriting truth, or creating it? No one knew. No one could prove it. But the galaxy began to fracture along a single line. Those who believed humanity were rightful architects of history, and those who feared they were tyrants cloaked in righteousness. The humans themselves offered no comfort. They did not explain their methods, nor deny the accusations. They only repeated their purpose. We do not conquer. We restore. We do not rule. We remind. What was stolen will be returned. What was forgotten will be remembered. And so, world by world, archive by archive, the galaxy was reshaped. Old alliances crumbled. Empires fell silent. And across every system, one undeniable truth spread like fire. History had always begun on Earth. At last, after 500,000 years, humanity had returned not to reclaim territory, not to demand thrones or wealth, but something far greater, something no empire had ever truly owned. The past. And in seizing it, they rewrote the future. The galaxy had forgotten the sound of human voices. In the 500,000 years since their disappearance, humanity had become a myth. Alien historians called them a failed species, a warning of ambition turned to ash. Entire civilizations rose without ever hearing the name Earth. The great empires of the present age believed themselves the true architects of destiny. Then one quiet day the sky broke. Wormholes erupted in a dozen star systems simultaneously, tearing holes in reality. From each rift emerged fleets of ships so vast and alien in design that no one could place them. They were not crude weapons of war but something else entirely, living structures, fluid and luminous, vessels that pulsed with the rhythm of stars. Across every system, a single message appeared, broadcast in thousands of tongues but all carrying the same words. We are Earth's children. We return to finish what was begun. Panic followed. The Council of Worlds scrambled to react, empires armed their fleets and ordinary citizens whispered in fear. Earth, the forgotten myth? Impossible. But the proof was undeniable. The newcomers carried technologies that seemed to mock the laws of reality. They shaped matter as easily as clay, moved suns into new orbits, and healed dying worlds with machines of light. On the barren moon of Toreva, they landed a single seed ship. Within a day, oceans surged across the surface, and forests bloomed where stone had lain for eons. On Velthor, a world scarred by endless wars, they dismantled every weapon in orbit without firing a shot, simply unraveling them into dust. They were not refugees seeking shelter. They were not wanderers begging to return. They came as architects bearing a vision. The galaxy, they said, had stagnated. Empires rose only to fall into cycles of greed and bloodshed. Civilizations warred endlessly, repeating mistakes across the stars. Humanity had left the cradle not to dominate but to build. And now, after 500,000 years of wandering, they had returned to impose a new order, an order of progress, where history itself would be rewritten into a foundation for tomorrow. Some cheered. Worlds weary of endless conflict saw them as saviors. Others trembled, fearing them as tyrants cloaked in righteousness. The resistance began immediately. The Tharn Dominion, proud rulers of 1,000 systems, declared humanity an infection that must be destroyed. They launched their fleets, armadas bristling with weapons capable of tearing moons apart. The battle that followed did not last an hour. The humans did not meet fire with fire. Their ships did not unleash barrages of missiles or plasma. Instead, they bent the battlefield itself. Tharn warships found themselves lost, their weapons dissolving mid-flight, their crews paralyzed by visions of alternate futures where their empire never existed. The Tharn homeworld was not destroyed, it was remade. Humanity descended upon its surface, rewriting poisoned oceans into crystal seas, repairing genetic flaws in the Tharn people themselves. When the Tharn leaders surrendered, it was not out of fear, but because their people begged them to. The galaxy trembled. The children of Earth were not merely conquerors. They were recreators. They did not just take worlds, they improved them. And that was far more terrifying. For what empire could resist an enemy who offered not death, but a better future? Yet not everyone was swayed. The Council of Worlds, desperate to hold on to authority, declared humanity a heresy. They claimed these children of Earth sought not to save the galaxy, but to enslave it under the weight of their own perfection. And there was truth in that fear. For as the humans spread, so did their influence. On every world they touched, governments dissolved, replaced by councils guided by human oversight. Weapons were dismantled. Old rivalries erased. Entire histories rewritten into new narratives of unity and progress, with Earth at the center. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. On the world of Aenery, poets wept as they watched their dead seas bloom with life. Yet they whispered, "Are we free or are we being remade into something that is no longer ourselves?" The humans did not answer. They only pressed forward, tireless, determined, their voices echoing with a single truth. Chaos ends now. We are the architects of tomorrow. And then came the greatest revelation of all. Earth still lived. At the heart of their return, humanity revealed their most guarded secret. The cradle of their species, long believed dead, had been preserved. Not abandoned. Not lost. Humanity had carried it with them, hidden in a pocket of folded space. When they unveiled it, the galaxy beheld a world like no other. Earth, lush and alive, blue oceans and green continents shining brighter than any memory. They had rebuilt their home in secret across the ages, and now they offered it as the model for what the galaxy could become. But with that revelation came the unspoken threat. If humanity could preserve an entire world in silence for 500,000 years, what else could they do? Some species begged for assimilation, eager to join the vision of Earth's tomorrow. Others resisted, clawing desperately to preserve their independence. Wars broke out, but they were wars already lost. Humanity's fleets could not be matched. The true conflict was not in weapons but in hearts. The question spread across the stars. Was this salvation, or conquest disguised as mercy? The humans did not debate. They did not argue. They only built, reshaping world after world into paradises, dismantling the old empires as easily as a child sweeps aside sandcastles. And slowly, inexorably, the galaxy began to change. Centuries of division gave way to a new unity, enforced by the invisible hand of Earth's return. The archives of 1,000 species were rewritten, not through lies but through a narrative that placed Earth at the center of all things. The galaxy's future no longer belonged to scattered empires. It belonged to the children of Earth, who had come not to request permission, but to impose destiny. At last, as the last council world fell silent, the humans broadcast their final message across every star. History has been broken for 500,000 years. Today it is rewritten. Tomorrow begins now. And in that moment, every being in the galaxy knew the truth. The architects had returned. The past was gone. The future was theirs.